Well, every time Arnold and I talk, we find an autobiographical element in his pictures. But in twins, Arnold, I'll be darned if I can figure it out. You're not a twin. There are no twins in your family.
That's right.
So where do we start? Is there something, a long-lost relative that you've searched for, or vice versa? Anything like that in your life?
No, not at all. I mean, this is, as you know, with comedies, I mean, you just come up with a concept and you try to make a funny film. You take a certain theme, and our theme is family. Those lost twin brothers out there, and the whole idea of Danny DeVito and me being twins, I mean, that alone is really a great, great concept. And of course, when I read the script, I couldn't stop laughing. From the page one to the last page, everything was so funny. So for me, I wanted to do that so badly. I told Ivan, I said, listen, let's just go and shoot this movie. I mean, I'm on board on this one. And then working with such a great talent as Danny DeVito was for me the ideal thing. And remember, I always said that I wanted to do down the line a comedy. Right. Although I put a little comic relief in my films, but to do one all the way through, that was really something that I looked forward to.
You were pretty funny in Pumping Iron, and maybe a lot of us forget that. I think right there, right off the bat, there was a hint that that's what you could do.
So you're absolutely right. And in Pumping Iron, where I had the chance to be myself, that ended up being a very funny movie in many ways, and I could show my comic side, and that I had a sense of humor. As a matter of fact, several of the critics said that now the trick is to find a partner for Arnold, to put him in a comedy, like they were talking about Woody Allen or someone like that at that time. We're talking now about 11, 12 years ago. So it was really, having Danny in there was the match for me. It was the right way to start off a comedy.
May I suggest that maybe initially that Lou Ferrigno was in a way your straight man? Right?
In that case, yeah, he was my straight man. That's absolutely correct, yes, in Pumping Iron.
Well, this autobiographical contact maybe is developing here. Back in Graz, Austria, were you sort of a jokester or a funny man, or were you a serious young boy?
I always had both sides. I was always very intense about certain things when it came to reaching my goal, when it came to training hard, when it came to working hard towards the goal, being disciplined and all those things. When I did my work, I was always very serious. But as soon as I stepped out of the gym, or as soon as I was finished with my work, I was a very humorous character, and I was the jokester, like you say, and I was entertaining always everyone around me and so on. So I had those two sides, the intense side and also the humorous side.
Let's look back at this character behind you here. Look at that, from a low-angle shot, clouds behind you, wide-angle lenses. Is this how Arnold sees Arnold here?
Well, this is Danny.
Oh, that's...
Yeah, I mean, just read. DeVito. This is Danny.
Excuse me, I forgot.
The problem we had, and you could see that because you have interviewed also Danny, is that we look so much alike.
Indeed.
And the director had difficulties, differentiating who is who in this picture. And that's why we came up with this slogan, only our mother can tell us apart.
Well, and he had to part his hair on the opposite side, too, so we could
That was
tell.
actually the only way that he could tell us apart was with his hairstyle.
Arnold, finally, I have been joking around with Ivan and Danny about this being a dance movie. It really is kind of a musical. You guys are dancing from beginning to end in this thing, one way or another.
Well, yeah. I mean, talking about dancing, this was one of those scenes where Danny really pulled a trick on me. Yeah, because I mean, we rehearsed every scene, and he refused to rehearse the dancing scene. And I said to myself, I got to prepare myself. He says, don't let me go in cold in those situations. He says, no, listen, I don't have time now. I think it's much better if we just do it cold and let the camera run and film. Whatever happens, happens. I said, no, we can't do that. Anyway, we ended up doing it cold. And so in the film you see sometimes those giggles there, which are the natural ones, because I held on to his wrist, like you do in a dance. I grabbed his wrist and he starts screaming loud. He says, nah, don't break my wrist.
He says you stepped on his feet, too.
Yeah, and then I stepped on his feet. He says, no, don't you understand what I said? Step by my feet, not on my feet. And to every little thing I did, he criticized immediately. He says, no, relax your jaw. He says, remember, you're not wrestling a wild boar here. And I mean, this whole thing went on and on like this for hours. Every time we did a take, it was done differently. that's his strength, is improvisation. And if you're not careful, if you're not improvising right along with that, you know, you're stuck. I mean, so you have to be very quick there. And that's one thing I learned from Danny is to learn how to improvise and to make every take a little bit different.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. He sings. He dances. He's light on his feet in Twins. We're both here in New York City. I'm John Tibbetts for KCTV5.